Hi, Nadia. Hi, audience. I am super excited to have another guest on here. Hello, Charvi.
Hi.
So today we have Charvi Dot, and I have known her ever since she was in seventh grade. I met her when she was a gymnast, and she volunteered for a nonprofit that I helped found called Gym Safe. And then she worked for On the Move Physical Therapy for several years as admin and marketing, head of marketing and, of our department of one. And she is good friends with Nadia, and they both are, well, Charvi has recently graduated from Northeastern. So we are super excited to have Charvi as our first college student guest.
Her new series.
It's the
So
new part of
exciting.
our series. We've been bringing on a lot of professionals in the past to answer some of our health related questions. But as Nadia is transitioning from being a student and to thinking about post college life, we thought that our audience would be interested in hearing people reflect on their college experiences and transition through this tender moment of going from student or college student to post college student, which personally was a really difficult time for me, which we can go into some other time. But this is about Charvi. So welcome, Charvi.
Thanks for having me.
Yay. Okay, first up.
Okay. So are you asking the first question, Nadia?
No, you are.
Okay. We have a few questions for you, Charvi. The last one is kind of an interesting one, but the first few are pretty straightforward and exactly what you would expect if you're asking somebody that's fresh out of college some questions. So it has been 10 months since your college graduation. Congratulations. And we are wondering, what are some of the best things that you've done since graduation?
Oh, so many things have happened in the past 10 months. Right after graduation, I went to India for a month and I did my 200-hour yoga teacher training. And I think that whole trip was just super special to me because I went to India a lot growing up. I didn't really enjoy it all the time. And I think this trip was just so out of my realm. And I had this found this deep appreciation and met so many people through it. That was probably one of my favorite things that I did post college. And then I wanted my gap year to be, I'm taking a gap year before I go to physical therapy school in the fall. And so one of the things that I wanted to do post college was just have some fun and do something not related to what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. And I think that was really nerve wracking at first. When I got back from India, then I was just thrown back into Boston. And then I was I need to find a job. I was obviously super I was a little bit worried. I was I don't know what I want to do. I should have a job by now. And it took a few months for me to get into that mindset of finding a job. But one of my favorite things that I've done this year is started to work at this cafe and bakery in Allston. I have learned to I'm now a barista. I've learned to bake bagels and just work a different type of customer service job. I've met so many inspiring and cool people in the food industry, just other students that aren't from Northeastern area.
Mhm.
So that it is a huge part of my gap year, working at the cafe. And another one of my favorite things is this gap year I've just been traveling a lot. I have a lot of flexibility to visit my friends in different cities. I was just in Austin in January. I was in Denver in December visiting some of my college friends. So just a lot of traveling, a lot of meeting new people, keeping my same connections and making the effort to go out and see them because I know I'm not going to have this time for maybe a little bit in physical therapy school and just prioritizing fun. I think those are my big takeaways post grad and some of the most exciting moments were traveling and finding new hobbies. Oh wait, I have to add one more thing. I did a pottery course and I used to think that I wasn't very creative. I didn't really take art classes in high school or college. And then doing pottery, I found a very creative outlet, which is I found a very different part of myself through that. And so now it's just a very fun hobby that I have on the side. And then I'm
Mhm.
also meeting people through that. And yeah, I feel I've just been learning different things about myself away from college, which has been super fun.
That's awesome. I hope that when I graduate, in 5 million years. I mean, in December, that I also prioritized fun. I think that was kind of one of my New Year's resolutions, wasn't it? That I set
Yeah,
out, but
making it work. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Nadia. I
no, no.
said you can do follow-up questions, but I have a follow-up question.
No,
You go
what's your
you go
follow-up question?
It's how are you making it work, Charvi? I mean, I'm thinking about the people that are listening to this podcast, and some of them are college students. And it's like,
Mhm.
okay, that's nice. You've been able to not move back home, stay independent, take up like an art class and done a lot of traveling. I mean, how do you make that work financially? Like
Okay.
give the
Yeah.
listeners like some logistics of how to make it happen.
Okay. In college, I worked 3 jobs, and then we also had co-op at Northeastern, and I was able to save a lot of money throughout college. I think I was also, like, lucky that, like, I didn't have to pay tuition. So, like, I was just able to save money throughout college, and
Mhm.
obviously, like, I needed to find a job to help pay, like, current bills, but then with the money that I did save, I knew that during my gap year, I was gonna prioritize, like, travel and, like, finding a hobby, and I knew there were expenses associated with that.
Mhm.
I am pretty realistic with, like, how much money I need to save for rent. I think obviously being realistic, but then having, like, goals for yourself of, like I knew I was gonna go to back to school, and so, like, I
Mhm.
also need to save money for that. So I think there's, like, different things that I'm thinking about, but it's also, like, I know I might not have this time again, and so it was
Mhm.
important for me to just, like, prioritize my wishes now. I think I'm very, like, lucky to be able to do the traveling and, like, having the hobbies that I do. So I think that's part of it. And then, yeah, just, like, saving money throughout college. But then, yeah, I my job, like, obviously helps with that too.
How much are you still dependent on your parents?
Honestly, not that much. I don't when I do go home, I don't have to pay for my flights home, and flights to California are very expensive. But I pay for, like, my own rent, my groceries, my transportation.
Phone?
My phone is covered. Yeah. Yeah. My parents' health insurance until I'm 20. But, yeah, I think everything else, like, I'm doing on my own. And I
Uh,
think that's, like, another thing that's just important to me since I, like, even moved to Boston to Northeastern was, like, having independence. Like, I feel like that's just something that will always be important to me, and I'm always prioritize that. And I think when you have that, like, goal and, like, mindset, you're always gonna find a way. But
yeah.
it's helpful, like, I know my parents will be there for me, and are there for me, like, if I need them.
Yeah. That's awesome. So many fun things in 10 months.
Mhm. So many things.
Feel like a lot of my friends are very nervous about I mean, actually, a lot of my friends are doing 5 years, so they're not graduating just yet, but nervous about post-grad and all of that. But I honestly feel like it's kind of like a world is your oyster type situation. You kind of have the choice to do whatever you want, obviously within the lines of what you have money for, but seems like you've kind of made the most of it. So that's awesome.
Yeah. I also, like, moved from a very expensive part of Boston to, like, somewhere that's a little more affordable, and, like, me and my roommates had, like, limits on, like, what we would spend for rent, and so I
Mhm.
think, like, knowing how, like, the Boston, like, real estate works is
Mhm.
important, and then, like, making sure, like, heat and hot water are included, things like that, where, like, it would increase the price. So, yeah, just being, like, smart about where I was moving. And then another thing is, like, I knew I wanted to live in Boston for my gap year, and so I was just doing everything that I could to make it work. So I think
Yeah.
it just goes back to, like, you would do anything to, like, make it work.
And I think something that my mom has said a lot too is like, if you really want something, like things will work out. Like you'll find, even if it's like, even if you started it off being like, I don't know how I'm going to pay for my rent or my groceries or whatever, or you didn't have a job,
Mhm.
you'd figure it out because
Yeah.
you wanted to be in Boston. So,
Yeah. I mean, that was me for, like, all of September, and I was so stressed. Like,
mhm,
should I just work in physical therapy because, like, that's what I know, and, like, I've
yeah.
worked in this field for, like, 4 years as, like, a rehab aide, or, like, should I just invest my time in something else? And so, like, that whole month for me was so stressful, but, like, people kept reminding me, like, "This is your, like, month of unemployment, like, just enjoy it. You're gonna find a job, like, you have to." And so, like, I think also, like, with people who are trying to find jobs after college, it's stressful in any field, okay, but also, like, it's gonna happen eventually. And I think just being, like, optimistic about it because everything is gonna work out
Yeah.
if that's yeah.
So, on that note, what what are you up to next? What's coming in the next few months for you?
Great question. These are my last few months in Boston.
Sad.
I know, it's so sad. I'm, like, still in denial a little bit. I'm going to India in a couple weeks, actually.
Mhm.
I'm
Oh, that's
leaving
awesome.
on March 20th. Yeah, I'm going for 5 or 6 weeks. I'm doing my 300-hour yoga teacher training, so, like, the next yeah, but
Oh.
this time yeah, I'm going to the south of India to do this training. Last year, I was in North India. I was in Rishikesh,
Mm.
and, yeah, I'm going by myself, which is different because last time I went with my mom. So I'm really solo travel
Mhm.
experience.
Goodness, that's so exciting.
Yeah, I'm really excited. And then I come back in Boston. I'm here for May, maybe June. And then I'm going to go back to California for a couple months. And then I start PT school at the very like end of August, beginning of September. I'm going to Northwestern in Chicago.
Yay! That's so exciting.
Yeah, I'm so excited. So I'll probably be in Chicago in like August-ish.
Oh, you know what? I'm going to Chicago in October for the marathon.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
are.
because Eric is running his very
Eric's
first
running a
marathon.
marathon?
Mm.
Wait, what? Since when was he a runner?
Low-key run.
Low key, I
Like,
love it.
he likes to run.
Okay, got it. Well, that's
Yeah.
pretty rare, so
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll be there in October.
Wait, that's so fun. Okay, so I'll definitely see you guys in October.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, that's awesome. Did you always know that you wanted to do the, like, next 100 hours for your yoga training, or was it
I
like
think I didn't know, like, how soon I wanted to do it, but when
Mhm.
I did my 200 hour, at the end of it, I was just like, "Whoa," that was, like, so much information, but at the same time, it just, like, wasn't enough information. There's
Mhm.
just, like there's so much depth that yoga is, I think,
Yeah.
and so, like, the 200 hour was, like, a little sprinkle of, like, the different lineages and the different type we talked about, like, meditation and the history and, like, all these different things, but it was, like, very just, like, the basic layer, and so after that, I was super inspired. I wanted to stay there, honestly, and just, like,
Mhm.
keep learning, but it just obviously wasn't realistic, and then this 300 hour was recommended to me by somebody, and there was literally only, like, 1 or 2 spots left, and I was like, "I think I just have to do it," and I knew that I was just like, "I don't know if I would have time, during or after PT school. I don't know how
Mhm.
realistic it would be," and I was like, "This is something that I'm, like, passionate about right now," and so I kinda just, like, wanted to
Excited.
full send and do it, yeah.
Ooh, so
Nice.
cool.
I'm excited.
So does yoga training feel like I think to the average person, they think, okay, I'm going to go take a yoga class. There's going to be a teacher, and that person in front is going to lead me through these different poses. That's what they need to know. Like, these are the different poses. This is probably the order that it should be taught. And these are the names of them in
Mhm.
English and in Sanskrit. And yeah, that's it. That's all they're thinking. But
Yeah.
does it feel like I'm going to yoga training, I'm going to learn all the different poses and what they're supposed to look like? Or is there what more is there to it?
Yeah. I think, like, every 200 hour is kind of different, and so I think, like, maybe some 200 hours, like, that is kind of the premise of the 200 hours, like, you're literally just learning how to structure and teach a class and, like, learn all the different
Mhm.
poses, but what I really like about learning in India, and I think this is how, like, most ashrams do it in India, is that the structure of the day follows the structure of what, like, a yoga practitioner, someone who, like, practices yoga. It's more like a daily life practice. It's not like this 1-hour class that people go to.
Mhm.
And so, like, we would wake up and start with, like, yoga, which is, like, just one lineage of yoga. And then we would do pranayama, which is, like, breathing exercises or, like, breath expansion for, like, an
Mhm.
hour. And then we'd have, like, a break for, like, tea and fruit. Then we could go back and learn about the history of yoga, and then we would have, like, a yoga alignment class, which is, like, where we're learning the poses, like, how to correct somebody, like, cueing, all these things, and then we'd have, like, another full, like, hour and a half yoga class where someone's teaching us, like, classical
Mhm.
hatha yoga. So it's, like, a mix of, like, us practicing poses, us doing a whole, like, hour and a half class, and then we would, like, end the night with, like, a meditation. So it's, like, all these different facets of what yoga is, and we're going through it, and then towards the last week is, like, when we start teaching each other, and so I think different 200 hours you might start teaching at the very beginning. But the one that I went to, I feel like becoming a teacher was kind of like the last thing that happens. I think that could have also been like a con of the teacher training that I didn't feel like fully prepared to teach. But for me, I
Uh,
just learned so like many other things. And I realized that like maybe my goal isn't to become a teacher. It's really just like learn life skills that I can use in everyday life. And to me, that is what yoga is. And it's way more than just teaching a 1 hour class to people and like teaching them this pose, you know? And I think the skills and like the lessons that I learned in that course can be
mm,
transferred to a 1 hour class. And so I'm excited for the 300 hour because I think there's more like teaching skills involved in a 300 hour. That's like a big part of it. But
mhm,
I'm just excited to like bring what I learned from the 200 hour, learn some more teaching skills, but then also go deeper into like what yoga truly is. Did that answer the question?
Yeah, that is
Okay.
so
that's
interesting.
awesome.
Yeah, and
I wanna
people
go
You
ask,
should you
I mean,
should
maybe
do
you
it,
should.
you should do it.
You
It's
should
like
not.
it's like people from all over the world come to do this, and I think people go in with, like, one mindset, which is, like, what I did
Mhm,
too, like, I was just like, "I'm gonna teach yoga when I go back to Boston,
right.
and that's gonna be my gap year," and that's, like, complete opposite of what I
Yeah.
did, but it's like everything that I learned in that course, I feel like I try to apply it in my daily life, and, when I came back from India, I was doing, like, my own practice at home, and, like, I tried to keep some of that same routine. It's really hard, I think, when you live in a apartment in Boston and just, like, are surrounded by people that, like, also like, aren't doing the
Yeah.
same thing as you, you know? I was definitely, like, living in a bubble for a month, but, yeah, I try to, like, apply as much as I can back in, like, daily life, but yeah.
People always mix up like yoga and Pilates, or like they think they're the same thing, but they're
Yeah.
so different, especially the way that you just described it. I mean, besides the breathing being different and then like the
Mhm.
actual poses being
Poses,
different,
yeah.
it sounds like yoga is like the way you describe it is a way of life, a way of thinking.
Mhm. Totally.
And they're both like mindful movement, but
Mm.
this is like, and Pilates is also like you can teach it and experience it in lots of different ways, but like in the way that we practice it and the way that I teach it, I think of Pilates as a foundation for movement and a moment to think about where your body is in space and how, like, what your
Mhm,
strategy for movement is. But it's not
Mhm.
like a lifestyle, you know what I mean?
Totally.
That's not a way of life at all, it's like, I mean, I guess you can think of it as a way of life. It's like, mindful movement, but no,
Mhm.
it's so far from that spiritual part or
Yeah.
part that you're talking about.
Yeah, I think what I used to think about yoga was like and what I still think, and I think this is what helps people get into yoga is that like this is like 1 hour where I am focusing on like where I am in space. And so like you're so
mhm,
focused on like, what my legs should be doing and like where I should be sending my breath, which is really important. And I think that helps people like get their mind to like the present moment, which is a huge part of yoga, like being present, like
mm,
and not thinking about the past, not thinking about the future. And then I guess what I've learned from this course is that while the poses can help you do that, and that's great, that's like a lot of the point of it, it's actually just like to help you get ready to sit in meditation. And I think now that's a big part of my practice is like to like this state where I can meditate more easy because it doesn't
mhm,
come easily. I think a lot of people feel that way about meditation. Like it's hard to just even find like 5 minutes to like be present. And I think yoga can help you do that because it's like 1 hour of movement where you're getting this energy out or like bringing energy into your body, whatever it is. And then you can like feel grounded, like centered, and like maybe it's easier to focus on your breath. And then
mhm.
maybe it's easier to be in the present. And that's like what meditation is.
Yeah. Oh, I need to do a little
There's a
I
really
don't
good
know.
studio, it's kind of far from you, but it's in Porter
What's it
Square, it's
called?
called Sunbeam.
First
Um,
Border Square.
oh, Nadia, you need to get out of Northeastern, you need to get out of the Northeastern bubble.
I'm my job is in a whole new I actually don't know what it's called. I guess it's like downtown, but like not down. It's like up by well, it's up by MGH. And just like walking
Okay,
around, I'm like, oh, this is just so much different.
so different,
From
yeah. Porter Square is, like, one more stop after Harvard Square.
okay. Okay.
It's in Cambridge. Did it get really loud? There's a car outside. Okay,
Okay, didn't
Um,
realize that we were going to spend, all this
I
time
know,
talking
it's
about yoga,
talking
but
about
I'm
yoga,
like,
I know.
but going back to you. going back to you.
Yes.
Do you feel like you took a straight path to exactly what you thought you'd be doing after college? Yeah. Did you feel like, okay, I took a straight path, or did you feel like you had some sidetracks along the way?
I think I was really lucky in the way that I knew that I wanted to pursue physical therapy, like, in high school, and so, like, in college, I think, like, I knew what classes I needed to take. I did have, like, maybe a little bit of sidetrack, like, I minored in business, which, like, I thought maybe, okay, I'll do, like, I don't know, like, healthcare consulting for, like, a minute. I thought I was gonna do that, or, like,
Mhm.
even if it would be helpful to, like, run my own practice and, like, maybe that's something that I'd wanna do in the future, but, like, I knew that I wanted to be a physical therapist, and then I think where, like, the biggest detour was, like, in my gap year. I think in high school and, like, early college, I was like, "I'll work as a rehab aide and, like, get my resume padded so I can, like, be a competitive applicant." I think being a student at Northeastern helped me, like, find opportunities to, like, be a
Mm.
better applicant for physical therapy school, and not even be a better applicant, but just, like, actually know what physical therapy is before going to physical therapy school. I think that's obviously what's more important when you're applying to grad school. And then after my co-op, I was like, I think I can just, like, have fun during my gap year. And, like, that's when I was like, I could teach yoga, and then I decided not to, and then the pivot was just, like, finding all these other things that I actually enjoy doing. And so
Mhm.
now when I think about, like, my career, I'm very excited to be a physical therapist, but I'm also so excited about all these other, like, hobbies that I have, and, maybe there'd be a career in that, I don't know, but maybe it would also just be, like, a side job while I'm in grad school, and maybe it'll turn into something more. I just feel like now this gap year has opened up, like, ideas of, like, where I can pivot, and it's like it doesn't always have to be physical therapy. I think that's, like, a huge part of my life, but now I know that there's just, like, so much more out there, and I could still do what I love, but there's also all these other things that I love, and so I'm not, like, pigeonholed. And I think that's, like, a big switch in my life, just, like, my mindset of, like, career
Yeah.
in general. Yeah.
Did you
I
have
do
your
think
what'd you say?
Oh, I do think that people often feel like they should be pigeonholed, like that the o pigeonholed, like they do, like they think that the only way to get to that final destination that they think that they've made for themselves is to follow this really, like, specific path that all leads to that one thing that they eventually wanna do.
Yeah.
And I mean, my impression is that your generation, your guys' generation feels that even more than we did,
Mhm.
like, yeah, scared to like get off the path because you have to be super competitive to get to the thing that you want to. So you have to
Yeah.
spend all of your time doing the things that are related to that future goal.
Yeah.
Totally. I think in college, I had a lot of friends that were like that, and then now post-college, I'm meeting a lot of people that, like, are very open and are, like, switching career paths always. I think just, like,
Mhm.
when you work at a cafe, you're meeting, like,
Yeah.
people in all different walks of life, like, people that
Yeah.
are, like, going back to school or, like, just ditched school completely, and so, like, that's also been super
Mhm.
interesting.
I feel like I had the same experience when I worked at the cafe last semester. I feel like it's always those job experiences where I'm like, this is not necessarily what I want to do in the future,
Mhm.
but I feel like you learn so much about yourself and then just hearing from other people, I feel like I probably talked about on this podcast at some point that I was like, oh, what if I just worked at a cafe my whole life? Like I low key would love that. And
Yeah.
oh, it's so much less stressful, and I could probably just
Yeah.
doing everything I'm doing now and just continue doing this. But it's, really interesting to see where everyone that works at a cafe is, doing different things, so it's always
Mhm.
yeah. I wanna ask the last question or my last question because it's the fun question, but we have
Okay.
2 more.
Okay.
So, I guess we've talked a lot about Boston, and you applied early decision to Northeastern, and you're the person that introduced me to Northeastern because I didn't know what it was before you applied and got it.
Mhm.
But are you glad that you chose Northeastern and that you chose to spend your time in Boston, I guess?
Yeah, I love I think Boston offers something that's very different for, like, college students, just, like,
Mhm.
there's so many colleges here, there's so much to do in the city, and then also, like, in the surrounding suburban suburb other cities like Somerville, Cambridge,
Mhm.
Allston, and so I'm very glad that I chose Boston to study in. I think I loved my experience at Northeastern. I do think regardless of whatever college you choose, it's just like finding a community
Yeah.
and like finding your people, finding like whether if it's like a club or a sports team or just like people that you share the same hobbies with, like it
Mhm.
really is just about community at the end of the day. And I think that's why I love Northeastern so much. I mean, I think Northeastern is special in ways like co-op and like I was able to be a TA for like two different classes. And like I feel like they had a lot of opportunities, whatever you wanted to do, like research or finding a job on campus or like being connected off campus. Like I think there's just very good connections to different communities. Like I think it just all
Mhm.
goes back to community. And so yeah, I think I'm like very grateful that I ended up at Northeastern. It was a tough transition from like California to Boston. Like I'm spending my gap year here and I think it's like a testament to like the
Yeah.
friendships and like the people that I found here. So yeah, I think it's a very special place. But like, yeah, I'm sure yeah, I don't know if I would have had the same experience at another college, but I feel like I think about that sometimes, but I'm just
Mhm.
at the end of the day, like, so grateful that
Yeah.
I had a great college experience.
Yeah. I feel the same way
Okay.
about Northeastern. It's
Yeah,
quite
I'm
a bit.
so glad that you like that your choice, because I remember when you were applying early decision, and I also had never heard of Northeastern, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Okay,"
Yeah.
and then you're like, "If I get in, that I'm going," and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay, get in, and I hope you like it once you get there." But being a mom of 2 college students at Northeastern and having had gone to a totally different kind of school, like a big public university in California, like pretty much the complete opposite of Northeastern,
Mhm.
I loved my experience. I am so glad that I ended up where I ended up. However, I also am really glad about where you guys are. Like, I
Mm.
mean, I'm really impressed about where you guys have gone to school and especially the co-op opportunities. Like for you guys to take a whole semester or 2 semesters off of classes and apply what you learn to a working environment and have that be all you do for that semester and have that be
Yeah.
normalized, like that everybody around you is doing that is
That's true.
huge. I
Yeah,
mean, it's
It's
totally different for you to like have a part-time job that's applicable to what your interests are while you're taking classes. And it's
totally.
Mhm.
totally different for you by yourself to take a job, take a semester off work and then go back to school when none of your other classmates are doing it. Like the fact that all of you guys are doing it at Northeastern and you guys have support for that, I think is really, really special and huge.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, I
I
think that's also, like, not to bring up grad school, but, like, I think it is something that, like, sets you apart for, like for me, like, physical therapy school because it was, like, full-time, rehab aid, inpatient, like, I think it's just, like it is pretty unique from, like, what I've heard from other people that were also applying.
Okay, I have the weird question now.
Oh
it could
god.
be
Okay,
not
if you
very
could describe your 4 years in college, like your 4 years at Northeastern, as types of as animals.
Like, every year or the 4 years combined?
every year.
Every year.
Oh,
So for each
Every
year, like your first
year.
year is what kind of animal, your second year is what kind of animal.
Oh my
what
god.
would
What would you do?
and explain why.
Mhm.
Okay. Huh, that's so hard. I feel like freshman year, as an animal, I don't know. Okay, can I, like, give you some descriptors and we pick an animal together?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
for the
Go.
first year at least. I feel like I was the least like my true self freshman year because I was, like, still figuring out, like, where I was gonna fit in, and, like, towards the end of freshman year, I, like, really found my friend group, and so I feel like when I think of freshman year, sometimes I kinda cringe a little bit, like, it's fine, like, I was just like, "It's freshman year, that's what happens." Maybe a little shy, maybe a turtle?
I was thinking
Like a
caterpillar because like
caterpillar
You
too,
guys are on the same wavelength. Okay, I
well,
think
at first I
caterpillar
was
is a good
thinking
one.
tadpole, but that less nice than a caterpillar.
Right,
Same
I think
idea. Same idea.
okay, yeah, caterpillar. And then sophomore year, oh, I had so much fun sophomore year. I
so
don't know.
you're looking for a fun animal?
Yeah, what's a fun animal?
Like a crazy animal?
It wasn't crazy.
So you're like a monkey?
Oh,
I feel
what?
like I'm blanking on animals right now. Like, all I can think
I said monkey. Do you think you were a monkey?
no, that might be too crazy.
Like a puppy? Like
Okay, yeah,
a
maybe a puppy. Yeah, maybe a puppy. Yeah. And then junior year, I think I was a cat. Like I was kind of just like chilling, wasn't doing too much. I was still having fun. but I think this was, like, not a hermit year, but, like, me and my friends just, like, hung out a lot, like, didn't go out that much, but we were still, like, having fun with each other.
Mhm.
It was my first year living on an off-campus apartment, and so that was really fun. Yeah, junior year was a good time, and then senior year, I feel like I was just, like, free as a bird, like, I was, like, taking classes that I, like, loved. I was 21, so, like, me and my friends were going out. I was traveling in the summer, like, I was going to Europe, went on spring break trips. It was just, like, a good year, like, a little more financially free, things like that, like, things were kind of opening up. I was, like, more into yoga, so, like, a bird or a butterfly. Yeah, that's a good one, like a caterpillar
Yeah.
to a butterfly. Yeah, 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 butterfly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was different ideas about how I was gonna ask that question. I was like, "Oh, what to do?" But I'm glad I picked animal. Are you still a bird now right now
I think I'm a bird.
or butterfly?
Ooh, I think I'm a butterfly still. I'm having a lot of fun during my gap year, still traveling and yeah, just a good time.
Oh, she's free. Going
Free
to
free
India.
from school. That's the best part. A
Yeah.
break from school. Yeah.
Till
Yeah.
next September.
And yeah, and then it's like grind time.
But in
I
it,
Yeah,
and
that'll be really
and you're
fun.
going from Northeastern to Northwestern, which is very special. Like, that's
Mhm.
a cool, like, you know.
Yeah, like a little name change, yeah.
I, this past week, went to Big Sky, Montana to do training as a snowboarding instructor. And obviously, that's not my full-time gig. I don't even
Mhm.
work at a resort right now, but I was
Mhm.
surrounded by all these people that were making a life, career out of working in snow sports. And I, like you guys being like at a coffee shop, I find it so inspiring and fascinating. And I don't know. Yeah. To see other people that have, some with most with college degrees or whatever, and just like
Mhm.
making it work so that they financially and logistically, so that they can continue doing the sport that they love and being like out in the outdoors for work. It's not easy, right? Like, 'cause it's not like it's not a common path. It's physical. You don't get paid that well, but they love it and
Mhm.
they're doing all that they can to make it work. And I just find that so cool. So I hope that you both hold on to that that coffee shop experience that you guys both have
Mhm.
had. And remember that you don't ever have it to be pigeonholed, that you can always like make it work with a
Yeah.
different kind of career and transition.
Totally. I feel like you've
Yeah,
also
I
been, like,
agree.
an inspiration for that too, though. 'Cause, like, you've had
Mhm.
many careers before. You ended up in physical therapy, and then you also have so many, like, niche careers now yeah. Like, physical ther I mean, like, a lot of the theme is physical therapy, but, like, you're doing so many things that you love to do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for being here, Charvi.
Oh, this was so much fun.
You can come back
Thanks for
again when you're
being
in the depths of physical therapy school.
That'll
I
be
don't
fun.
think
That'd be like
she
a funny
wants
li No,
to.
I would do it. I'd, like, scare everybody.
We will it this time next year when you're, like, beginning
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
wrong.
Out of the
But
trenches, yeah.
yeah, but thanks for being our first what are we calling this?
Post-grad
Yeah,
guest.
yeah,
Or
post-grad guest, I guess.
friend guest.
Yeah, that too.